Hey, I'm Brian.
I'm Laureen.
I'm Curtis.
And I'm Gabi.
Okay, and today we will be discussing our service learning and how that relates to sustainability and Earth democracy. So, what we did is work with small scale agriculture for our service learning in our class. And me and Curtis worked at Farm Lot 59, and Laureen and Gabi worked at Long Beach Organic. So, we'll just be talking about what we did and how that relates to our class and sustainability. So the first kind of thing is what we did at our different places. So at Farm Lot 59, we kind of, did planning and stuff. We moved mulch. We did various other activities, and
Long Beach Organic was a little different. It's a nonprofit organization, and it operates 9 community gardens in the city limits of Long Beach. And it's pretty interesting. What these gardens were once vacant lots, and now they're turned into beautiful community gardens for local and sustainable food production. And these garden plots are rented out on a 6-month basis, where gardeners can grow their desired products.
yeah. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Earth democracy, and what that basically is the idea that the Earth is a living organism, and everything in the Earth is interconnected, and we should care for that. And the reason that we should do small-scale agriculture is because it has less impacts than large-scale agriculture.
Yeah, it opens up more diversity, I think, of species, allowing for different crops basically to be grown based on each individual kind of garden. And they can kind of each grow a different kind of form of different fruit or vegetable or whatever crop they're deciding to grow. So yeah, it just makes more food availability, basically, I feel like.
Yeah, and this concept is delivered by Vandana Shiva, and she states herself, Earth democracy connects people in circles of care, cooperation, and compassion instead of dividing them through competition and conflict, fear and hatred. So by practicing small-scale agriculture, it's bringing us closer to our community, and it's like she said, bringing diversity.
Yeah, and small-scale agriculture has a lot less impacts to the environment than large-scale, like runoff of fertilizer and land use, subsidence of the soil, a lot of things like that kind of play into this Earth democracy, and we should care for the planet. And that kind of brings us into our next thing of sustainability and why it is important to shift to small-scale agriculture. So any of you guys have an opinion on that?
Well, the idea of sustainability is connected to having multiple different sources from your food, because when it's all being come from one large-scale farm, if there's ever an issue with that one farm or particular strain or species that they're cultivating, it creates a food bottleneck, which is very dangerous and to the food chain, the food network.
But the problem with moving from small-scale agriculture to large-scale agriculture is that people, first off, the population is comfortable where they are, comfortable knowing that they can always have their food, any type of crop, year-round at the grocery store. And then small-scale, like, you're reliant on what the climate is doing. Like, when we were at Long Beach Organic, right, weren't you talking to some people and they were telling you that they had issues with their crops?
Yeah, it was since it was such a cold season, their crops were getting frostbitten, and they just had to throw their crops away. They couldn't use them.
What do you see as like the biggest benefits of like this like farm and like small scale agriculture as a whole compared to like say like large scale like industrial agriculture, which is like what the current trend is?
I think that the benefit of having urban farming is that you provide an open space in a congested environment. So people that live in the city portion of Long Beach can come here, even from your own experiences, right? And you can come here and be in a natural environment. And with our location, it's industrial, but it's no real adjacent neighbors either, so you get that real sense of a nature experience. Scale-wise, we are not a model to feed all of Long Beach.
Yeah.
We are a model to show you where your food came from, where you could potentially scale this model up if you want. So you could have 100 high tunnels and 50,000 you could scale it, or you could scale it way down to backyard size where you have just a tiny little greenhouse and that kind of thing.
So how do you think we can make it easier for like small-scale agriculture and urban farms such as yourself to thrive in cities and transition away, like in the long term, from like large-scale agriculture to
You have
more
to have
smaller?
policy change for land rights and land access, and not just like a minor tax incentive on vacant property. You have to have the city support it. The city is one of the biggest stakeholders and landowners typically in a municipality, and unless they're invested in it, then it's going to be a constant challenge.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, well, thank you so much for the
Yeah,
interview.
thanks for
Thank you.
coming.
Of course.
It was a pleasure to meet you guys.
Totally.
So, kind of like on an end note, what have you guys gotten from your service learning? Like, what did you guys learn, or?
I feel like I recognize from my service learning that the idea of just growing your own crops is not as easy as water and love.
Yeah, it takes a lot of patience, but overall it feels very rewarding and fulfilling to be giving back and knowing that you are making an impact.
Yeah.
I think this
That's
was just
an
very,
incentive.
very eye-opening, just getting just reconnected to the idea of where our food comes from. We get very caught up, I think, in just the whole mainstream way of how we do things at this moment, and modern technology where we just go to the store and obtain it. And this just rekindled the concepts for me that I can actually grow my own food. So it was very inspiring to me.
Yeah.
That it's actually possible still.
Yeah. It's definitely inspired me. I don't know about you guys, but yeah.
I'm inspired.
Yeah, I'm inspired too.
So we faced some challenges, but there is hope. And for all the people who have been engaging in these small-scale communities, maybe with our outreach programs, this will start to make a change. And
I really enjoyed my experience, so I encourage anybody to get out there and just to try it out. Like, even if you don't like it, what's one day? If you don't know if you
Right.
like it, maybe it changes your life. Just putting out one day.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for listening. Hopefully this motivates you to
Get out there.
Get
and
out there.
Put some. Get your hands dirty.
Yeah,
And dig in
put
some
some
dirt.
gloves on. All right. Well, thanks for listening to our podcast.
thanks, guys.
Thank you guys. We appreciate you.
Bye.